everybody. It is the Inspiration Station live here with your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer, none other than Joshua Lennox. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. Y'all, this is the last Friday of July. The last Friday of July is July the 31st, 2026. We have made it to yet another end of a month and getting ready to go into a new month, which is going to be the eighth month, which is August. And eight means new beginning. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what has happened this month. I'm excited about what's happening in your life this month and what's happening in my life, and also even on today. As I always say, you are overcoming what's trying to come over you. So whatever challenges you've been dealing with today, and whenever you watch this, you have already overcome it. And even if it has not happened right this moment, you will overcome this because you've overcome many things before. And that's who you are. You're an overcomer. So as you guys are coming in, I just want to say, thank you again for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Continue to share, continue to like, continue to watch, continue to like, continue to share, continue to watch. I'm excited about what is next. And sometimes with faith, you don't always see what's next, but you have to keep moving. You cannot just get stagnant because you don't know what's the next step is. And my pastor said something amazing a couple of weeks ago is that we asked God for clarity. And I don't know about y'all, when I was growing up, it was always like, Lord, please give me clarity. I don't see the next step. I don't see what's ahead. And it's like, but that is almost like the total opposite of faith, of what we're supposed to be doing. Faith is the hope, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So if we're asking God for clarity, we're not really walking in faith. So I want to just say too, in your life right now, whatever next steps you're taking, you just put one foot in front of the other. Sure, get information, get certain things, have a plan, but also know that that plan might not unfold and manifest the way you want it to. It might not move as fast as you want it to move, but I want you to just be walking in faith and also trusting God for what those next steps are as you are moving. Because even as we're moving, He is too. He's already walked ahead of us. He's already moved ahead. But without faith, it's impossible to please Him. So just know you don't have to do such big steps yet or major things in order to operate in your faith or to please God. It could be the very small steps that mean just the most. And that might mean doing what you got to do at this very moment until things change, staying faithful over where you are right now. I don't know why I went that direction, but I did. And that's okay. I'm going to bring it on back. But as you guys are coming in, again, if this is your first time here, it will not be your last. We're undergoing some changes, and that's okay. That's just what this season is, and things are going to only continue to get better. Better for me, better for you, better for the inspiration station, and wherever that's going in the direction, the next direction that is. So, if this is your first time again, this is the inspiration station. We are inspirations to one another, but we're also the greatest inspirations to ourselves. Why I say that is because you can look back over your life and you can get a boost based off of the things you overcome, the challenges you've overcome, also the success you've had, the achievements you've had, and knowing that you're going to do even that again and even better and even more than you've done before. We're also here to be open, honest, and vulnerable with one another, but also with ourselves because the relationship that's often neglected is the one we have with ourselves. Guests will be coming on to be poked and prodded, and we get all as much wisdom as we can out of them giving us tools and nuggets from their lives to inspire us and encourage us to make some movement. And that's another point. You might be getting inspiration here, you might be getting motivation here, you might be getting encouragement here, but it also is getting you geared to make steps in your life, physical steps in your life. And sometimes that starts just with your mind, with your thinking, because you start to change your thinking, that starts to change your movement. You start to change your thinking and it starts to change your movement. So I want to go ahead and jump right in because I know y'all are eager to hear what we got to talk about today. And also, you're eager probably to get to your Friday evening or whatever that is or whatever that's going to look like and get your weekend started. For many of us, some of us still, work throughout whatever. Some of us have no days off. But, to God be the glory. But the subject I want to talk about today, really fast with y'all, is visit the worst case scenario. Don't build a house there. Visit the worst case scenario. Don't build a house there. We all know what a worst case scenario is, and we all imagine worst case scenarios, and you probably do it on a day to day basis or do it more than you think you should. Sometimes it's wisdom to go there, but sometimes it's worry wearing wisdom's clothes. So it's a disguise. Also, the goal isn't to pretend that bad things can't happen or that they won't happen. It's just refusing to let fear become your permanent address. So it's like you don't want to remain in a place of fear, which will cause you to be stagnant and stuck just because you something bad is happening or can potentially happen. So it's okay. What I want to say is okay to visit the worst case scenario, to make a plan. I'm gonna say that again. It's okay to visit the worst case scenario to make a plan. It's dangerous to unpack your bags and start living there. Okay. So y'all see what we're about to go into? Just talking about worst case scenarios, we all do them, and it's not unhealthy to do so. You almost want to plan for the worst case scenario, but then also look at what can be the best case scenario or most ideal. This is what we call decatastrophizing. A lot of times when we catastrophize, we think about the most absolute worst thing that can happen in your life, and you don't look at what could be the best outcome or even the most ideal. So you live in the worst case scenario, which is causing somebody to be anxious, fearful, again, stuck, no movement at all. So we don't want to make a permanent residence there, but we want to make a plan if we're going to have worst case scenarios because you're going to have them all the time and you should think about them. So the first point I want to talk about is fear is a great alarm clock, but a terrible landlord. Fear is a great alarm clock, but a terrible landlord. Now, y'all know when you get scared, and let me say this really quick. When I was growing up, people would quote the scripture all the time that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. And I would just automatically be like, so I guess I can't be scared. I'm not supposed to be fearful. That's not true. Fear is going to come, but that does not mean that that comes from God. That's what that scripture means. It's saying that if you got fear, don't be looking at God saying he put that on you because he did not. But it also means that we cannot live a life free or absent of fear. It's going to show up. But it's an alarm clock. It gets us alert. It triggers something in us. It gets us to start being, our senses are starting to come alive in whatever that is, and we're afraid of something. But it shouldn't be where you stay. So it shouldn't be it's a terrible landlord. Give you some examples. Assuming someone hasn't texted back because something is wrong. You send a text message and all of a sudden, do, 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 hours and hours and hours, or maybe even a couple of days, that person hasn't texted you back. So you think something is wrong, not knowing that maybe when you hear from that person, their phone, something was going on with their phone, maybe something was going on with the service. Y'all know that can happen with certain cell phone companies. I'm not going to say some that happens often with, but cell phone companies, their cell phone service could be having some malfunctions. They might be in a place where they don't have great service. They might be, their phone might be off, the battery, something might be going on with the battery. They may have lost their phone. Maybe something happened in their family, or maybe an emergency happened and they just have not been able to get to their phone, but you immediately think something's wrong or that you did something wrong, and that's not the case. Also, believing that one mistake will ruin your career. You think because you didn't show up on time, now you about to lose everything. You think because that client that you had that was the money maker for you that's turned their back and gone to somebody else, now you think everything's over. You think because you didn't get finance or those investments for your business or for your venture, things that you want to do with your life, that your calling or something. Now it's like, well, see, I knew this wasn't going to happen. This wasn't supposed to happen. I guess that I might as well just quit now. And it's like, wait a minute, that was one thing. That is not true. That's not absolutely true. Also, convincing yourself that every setback means failure. You think every time there's been pushback, every time there's been maybe a moment or a season in your life where the doors didn't open, the opportunities didn't come, you just immediately think that that's failure. And it's like, no, what if this is just a sign for me to keep trying? This is not the right direction or the direction for me. This is not the door or the correct door for me. It doesn't mean that I failed. That just means what it is. It's just a setback. Also, imagining rejection before you've even asked. I've seen this often when people are dating, are interested in someone. They automatically think, well, that person is of this kind of caliber, so there's no way that they could want to be with somebody like me. Or I see the type of people that they've been with, so I'm not even going to bother to ask. Or maybe I don't even want to go to this job to see if I can be able to have placement there because I don't think I have all of the experience that I need. So before I even try, I'll just say, now let me save myself the rejection, but you have no evidence in that. What do I say with this? The takeaway from this point is fear should alert you, not govern you. Fear should alert you, it should get your attention, make you become more aware of things, but it should not govern you. It should not be your leader. It should not be your guide. Fear should be something that says, hey, wait a minute, what's coming up inside? And also, what am I really afraid of? Am I afraid of what could happen, or am I afraid of something that is actually present, actually evident, actually factual? Also, it does not mean because I have fear that stops me or that says, okay, well, because I'm afraid of this, I might as well shut down. I might as well turn it down. I might as well not try. I might as well give up. You don't want that to be something that governs you. And also because you want to seek facts. It's something I'm going to keep reverberating and repeating that we want to see facts and evidence and stuff. Because again, even with one of those examples of saying believing one mistake will ruin your career, it's like, do you know how many mistakes people have made in their great career? Tyler Perry says that he looks at failure in a sense of saying that he's never failed, even though he knows he has. How he reframes that is saying that everything he's done in his career has gotten him to where he is. So has he made several mistakes and things? Absolutely. There were probably plenty of times where he just said, I'll hang it up. I'm done. I don't want to do this. You know what? I won't go any further. But look at where he is today. So even in your life, there have been many times where you've made mistakes and you may have fallen into the worst case scenario or catastrophizing, saying that, oh, this is over. But something in you was like, you know what? Let me keep trying. Let me keep going. Because it's like, it's not over. If you still have if the ability to think, to speak, to act on things, to make movement, then you can keep trying. We want to keep trying. When you play that video game when you're growing up, I know I did. When I play video games, if I did make it to the next level and I had to start over, well, I was determined even more to be like, okay, bet next time I play this game, I'm determined to get past that next level and go to the next thing. And I want to say the same thing for you. What if I was playing that game and saying, I can't play this game because if I keep playing it, I'm never going to get past that certain level. I'm always going to get stuck right there. There's no evidence or facts in that. But the only failure I like to say is the only time you ever really fail is when you do not try. The only time you ever fail is when you do not try. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, but thinking about something that probably won't even happen or won't even exist is stopping you from doing that. That's what we talk about. Let the fear be an alarm. Don't let that be something that it's a landlord where you stay there, you become a resident there, you don't move, you become stagnant. Point number two is that your mind will fill in blanks with fiction. Your mind will fill in blanks with fiction. I kind of just already hit on that, but when we don't have facts, our brains often create stories. I often say narratives. I had to catch myself over the course of the years of my life, especially probably within the last 10 years. I would create narratives for people. Again, if something happened, for example, say like if I was, let's see, if I was calling someone and they weren't returning my calls, I would immediately go into a place of saying, they got a lot going on right now and they probably don't feel like being bothered. Or you know what? I have been sending them a lot of encouragement. Maybe I'm getting on their nerves. They have said that they have been, busy with their new job and stuff. All of that stuff I don't know that to be true. So it's like I'm creating a narrative off of something that I don't know to be true, have facts of. So again, that caused me to maybe pull back. It's like, pull back for what? Maybe you should find out. And I remember one specific person, she let me know that her phone was broken. And so she had to wait to get a phone shipped. That's the only reason why she wasn't returning calls or text messages or anything of that nature. But I created a narrative. And often we create narratives because we become anxious about what we do not know, or we don't sit well with uncertainty, or that we have the fear of the unknown. You don't know something, so let me go ahead and create a story to give myself some level of peace or knowing, even though it's false, it's fiction. Examples with that is somebody just kind of similar to what I'm talking about, but somebody might say they must not like me. Maybe you walk into the break room, or maybe you walk into a certain group of people, and then nobody really readily speaks to you, or maybe invites you into a conversation, and you immediately say they must not like me, not knowing maybe they haven't approached you because maybe they don't know if you want to be involved in what they're talking about, or that they don't know how you interact with people because maybe you're new to the group or to the atmosphere. I'll never recover financially. So many times, we know finances can be a big thing for all of us, and you'll think because you have hit a low in your finances, you immediately think like you're going to remain there. And it's like, well, who says you're going to remain there? You're still alive. You can still work. You can still get certain strategies to get yourself back into a better place. So again, that's fiction. And that's where our minds continue to go, can go sometimes if we allow it to. But again, that's not fact. Also, this relationship is over. Maybe it's because we had a disagreement and an argument, and it's like, oh, you know what? It's just I knew this wasn't going to work. And it's like, well, wait a minute, because you had an argument or a disagreement, you think that everything is over? You willing to walk away from something? Why? You think it's over just because you got upset and maybe showed a different emotion than usual? That's not the truth. Also, I'll never get another opportunity. There are opportunities of all kind in this world that we all have the chance to go after, walk through. So saying that just because one thing didn't work doesn't mean that several others won't. So again, we end up creating these false narratives that are actually false. No evidence behind them. They're irrational. I often teach a lot about irrational beliefs and irrational fears. They're things that actually are not truth. They're not facts. You always want to look for evidence. And I'm going to keep saying that. Again, for this, a question to ask, as I just said, is do I have evidence of this? Or is this just my emotions? Is this just how I feel in the moment? But where is the evidence in all of this? That's like somebody saying, I'll never be married again. How come you won't? You still alive. You still able to talk to people, be among people. I'll never find a better job than where I was before. How do you know? You've never been there before. You never tried another job. I'll never move again because, I'm supposed to I guess I'm just supposed to settle right here. Why? Where is the truth behind that? Where is the evidence? You don't have any. So again, your mind will fill in blanks with fiction. Next point, y'all, is prepare, don't panic. Prepare, don't panic. I think about the song on Lion King, be prepared, whatever. But and also think about like in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they always teach you be prepared, be prepared. You should be prepared. This is why it's not unhealthy to prepare for the worst case scenario. We just don't want to remain there because then that's going to cause you to have panic, anxiety, worry, doubt, unnecessary stress, which is all unhealthy. Healthy preparation says, if this happens, here's my plan. Anxiety says, this is definitely going to happen. You just made an absolute out of something that's not true. I think about insurance, and y'all, I wish sometimes, I thank God for insurance, car insurance, praise the Lord, hallelujah, but I'm pretty sure I would make a lot of money back based off of, thankfully, not ever having so many issues with my car, wrecks and things of that nature over the course of my life. I would have a lot of money coming back to me, but I understand the necessity of having insurance because it's just in case. You cannot say, oh, you know what? I can't leave my house because what if I get in a wreck? That's somebody who's dealing with in a level of anxiety. If I get in a wreck, I know what if somebody hits me? What if I hit them? What if I slide in a ditch? If it rains, it's like you thinking about all these things and not being in a place of preparation. Healthy preparation is saying, well, at least I have car insurance. So if something does happen, this is the plan. I got to pay my deductible. Hopefully, the other person, if it's their fault, they have insurance coverage, whatnot. But I have something in place just in case something happens. Okay. So when we talk about that, planning creates peace versus catastrophizing, creating paralysis. You just almost become also, I want to add in there, you become delusional. You start creating things that are not even there and possibly not even ever going to happen. And again, with the car insurance, it's just in case. Since I have car insurance, just in case I go out here and something happens, I'm covered. So I have a plan there versus me sitting, going and spinning my wheels. But what if this happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? A person ain't gonna leave the house. They're gonna do everything, every shopping and every food delivery, whatever they can do. They'll just have it brought to their house because they've allowed themselves to create a residence in anxiety and also in the worst case scenario. What I want to say next is point four. Last point, y'all. I'm almost done. Thank y'all for your patience. Thank you for being tuned in. I hope that everything is connecting with you. And you also are thinking in your mind, where are some areas that I can improve when I know that I'm faced with worst case scenarios? Because maybe I get stuck there versus having a plan, a healthy prep, which is a healthy preparation versus let's see, healthy preparation, having a plan versus living there in what I think is the absolute worst thing that could ever happen. And I'm creating a narrative which is making me become anxious, stuck, stagnant, doubtful, fearful, all the things that can be very stressful but also unhealthy. Point four is come back to the present. A lot of times, what I like to refer to this as being mindful, mindfulness, grounding yourself, being in the very moment versus going to the future about something that you don't even have any inkling of yet, unless you God. Most of the things that we worry about never happen, or they don't happen the way we think that they're going to happen, or we become stronger than we thought if they do. Because it's like, okay, if it does happen, what does that mean? Maybe you get married. What if we get divorced? Okay, if we get divorced, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Also, can we do all the steps we can to prevent that from happening? And sometimes, again, things just don't happen the way you think they are. Sometimes you think about going on. I remember one time going on an audition. To be very honest, it's rare that I ever had to audition for anything. God just walked me into things. A lot of it's, I can count on maybe one hand how many times I've ever had to audition over several things in the course of my life, and that's just been God's favor. But I do remember one time knowing like, uh-oh, what if I don't get it? Like, da, da, da. I just the worst case thing. I said, well, if you don't get it, Josh, this is you have several other opportunities to exhibit your talent and your gifts. You can. This is just one thing. But for some reason, when I got there, I wanted it so bad. I was just like, ah. What if I don't get it? Like this is a big deal. And I'm standing out there and I'm seeing other talent. And for me, I've always been a person I'm celebrating other people. I'm encouraging other people out there, even though they're my competition. I still want to beat you, but I will still encourage people and celebrate their talents and gifts as well. I really wanted it, and it's like for some reason I couldn't get out of that spiral of thinking, well, what if I don't get? And it almost made me want to say, you know what? Let me just leave. Let me just leave. And again, that was a place of where I was filling my mind with things that were fiction. I didn't know anything until I take my butt in there and go audition. I go there in there and audition. I actually got the part. But what it brought me back to is again, it didn't even happen. I think I thought I was going to stumble over certain parts that I wasn't so confident with. I had done everything that I could do, but I'm thinking about things going wrong. And so it actually turned out different than I ever thought. Me stumbling, it never happened. And I did better than I thought I was because sometimes nerves help me. They work for me. So again, for you, think about in your life where you are spinning your wheels about things and it's never going to happen. Or again, it's not going to happen the way you imagine. Or if it does, you're going to be better by this. I always say it. You don't get any losses. You don't lose. You just get lessons. You learn. You get wisdom with that. So again, even if something does happen that I really don't want to happen, and it is the worst case scenario, what do I learn from that? How do I move forward from this? What do I utilize from this moving forward in the future? Practical ways to return to make sure you're present are focusing on today's assignment. That is, an assignment means just what is your day encompassed of? What are you to accomplish? What are you to do in today, not tomorrow? And guess what? It's very good to plan again, but just don't become a resident there. Was you so far in the future, you're lacking and you're missing the present. And also, your present is suffering because you're so far in the future about something you don't even know yet. You haven't even seen with your own eyes yet. Replace assumptions with facts. It's always easy to assume something, but you need to make sure you know the actual factual. Okay. Pray before predicting. Seek God for wisdom and His guidance before you predict I want to say like the darkest thing you could think of that's going to happen. Pray and ask God for, first of all, peace. Ask Him for guidance. Also, for wisdom. He gives it liberally without reproach. Talk to someone you trust because sometimes you need somebody to talk you back to reality. Back to life, back to reality. You need somebody to talk you back into reality and hold you accountable with your thoughts. Challenge your irrational fears and beliefs because sometimes you get in your head so much you won't even have a rational conversation with yourself. So you need to be surrounded by people. There's safety in a multitude of counselors. That's the word, y'all. That's in the Bible. But talk to someone you trust that might be able to say, hey, 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 you might be missing something. You might be jumping the gun on something too soon. You're creating a narrative that's not even there. Last thing is write down what you know versus what you're assuming. Write down what you know versus what you're assuming. Go with what's fact. Go with what's evidence. Go with what's truth. Go with what's right in front of you versus you creating something that you have no knowledge of yet. You have not even, you don't even know if that's even something that will occur. Last thing I want to say, you guys, thank you for your again for sticking in, holding it down with me as we talk about this wonderful worst case scenarios and not building a house there. We don't want to be a resident there. We want to visit it. We don't want to be a resident. The next time your mind visits the worst case scenario, ask yourself, am I gathering information? Or am I declaring or decorating a house? I'm sorry, am I decorating a house that I'll probably never live in? It's like you start putting decorations up, like, oh, let me just get comfortable and stay right in this place. If you start decorating, I mean, you plan to be settled for a little bit. You plan to stay. So if I want to decorate a house that I'm not even going to live in, it's like I'll probably never live in. You're wasting time and space that could be used on what's the actual information or what is actually true. Because faith does not ignore reality, it simply refuses to let fear become its home. Faith doesn't ignore reality, it simply refuses to let fear become its home. Just because sometimes the things we see with our natural eye does not mean that that's going to be what it is. Like, and I say it with my natural eyes. Somebody may see something on television. You see something happen to somebody else, and you automatically think that's going to happen to you. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to, unless That's why sometimes we have certain symptoms of PTSD that people experience certain things, and that person thinks that that's going to recur again, not knowing it doesn't have to, because we think about, okay, but what if it does? What's the plan? But also, I have no facts or evidence. I can't predict that that's going to actually happen. I can plan for it, but it doesn't mean it's going to come. It's going to come to pass. Last thing I want to leave you with is to visit if you must. Talking about worst case scenario, visit if you must. Learn what you need and make a plan. Then leave because your future was never meant to be built inside your fears. Visit if you must, learn what you need, make a plan, then leave because your future was never meant to be built inside of your fears. Think about some of the things that you have been missing out on or the things that you've been pushing away because of things you thinking are going to happen and you have no evidence. It's irrational. You got irrational fears and irrational beliefs based off of things that are not evidence. So, I hope that you all have enjoyed today. Again, we talk about fear is a great alarm clock, but a terrible landlord. Your mind will fill in blanks with fiction if you let it. Prepare, don't panic. Come back to the present. You want to be centered in the present. It's okay. Jump ahead and plan. A lot of you out there, your lives you determine you. I mean, your lives are encompassed with you needing to always plan ahead. You should. All of us should plan ahead. I don't need to stay ahead in the plans though. I need to make sure I'm going through my day by day, even though I'm planning for what's to come. And also knowing that I might have to pivot at times, even with the plan that I have. So, I love you guys. Please share this. Please like, please subscribe. Keep showing up. I really appreciate you all who continue to support. And as I said, some things are on the uprise of changing. So I thank you all for your patience. And even as I said with this, I could have, sometimes when you look at something like this, as I've told you all, we've been in a transition. I could think negative. I could say things and think, oh, well, this is probably going to happen next, or this one. I can't do that because if I do, that might cause me to become very downcast, discouraged, negative, and that's not me anyway. So I'm always staying positive, always planning ahead, always preparing, and also knowing to be, I guess, be in a place where I'm very adaptable, as you all should be. So again, you can make a plan, and if you look at the worst case scenario, it's okay. Plan for it and adapt to it for whatever outcome that is, but you don't know for sure or for a fact that that will come to pass, the worst case scenario. Don't forget and don't ignore the best case scenario as well. So, you've always been great. You're just getting better, and you absolutely know that that's finally true. And we don't have to look at that as being the worst case scenario, thinking that you're not great because you always have been. So I love y'all. Talk to you soon. Take care. See you next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Inspiration Station. Y'all, I keep see sometimes I get a little caught up when I say that. It's almost like, is the name changing? I don't know. And if it is, maybe I can prepare for that, plan for that, so I don't have to have this spinning in the worst case scenario. I just thought I would throw that in there. Since we've been learning about it, might as well. I love y'all. Talk to y'all next week. See you next month. Bye.